I'm Theo.
And I'm Juliette.
And this is Apologies Accepted.
We offer an entertaining look at some of the big issues in history by examining public apologies of the famous and infamous.
We're looking at politicians, serial killers, actors, and you.
Send us a public apology you would like to make, and we'll read it on the air and give you a chance to redeem yourself or just get some guilt off your shoulders.
We're here for you. Once a week, maybe more if you're really, really sorry.
Hi, everybody. This is Apologies Accepted.
The podcast.
And I'm not Theo.
And I'm not Juliette. And we're a little out of sync because I am so excited to be talking into a microphone again.
It is exciting, isn't it? I wish I were Theo this week, because if I were Theo, I'd have a cool new house in Palm Springs.
That's right. And if you were Theo, you would have to go get towels and sheets and pillowcases, pillows, beds, mattresses, all the things. The house is completely empty.
That sounds like fun, though. I think you're going to have a good time furnishing the house.
It is fun. I do live for this bullshit, right? Like,
yep.
Oh, I've got to go to a consignment store and I've got to find a cheap couch, but it has to be the most perfect couch in the world. How can I overthink this?
Ideal.
Heaven. Absolute heaven, right?
Ideal.
And we will get there. Eventually there will be spoons in the drawer for people to use. I can't
wait. It's going to be so fun. Oh my God. You'll have this house that you can go to pretty much sort of whenever you want. Kind of.
So, yeah. I am reminded pretty much on a daily basis that the house is not our house.
Well, it is your house.
It is a rental that we are putting onto the market, and it is a business.
You're going to be evil landlords.
So please quit. Oh, I can't wait. Can't wait. I don't like those clothes you're wearing. They clash with my wall colors. Change your clothes.
That's right. Change your clothes.
Yeah. So, I'll have the joy of setting it up and then watching other people enjoy it.
Yeah. That should be fun. I mean,
like a lot of my boyfriends.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got them to perfect. And then they broke up with me. And other people got to enjoy them. And you're welcome, world.
It's a service that you do.
It is. I'm a giver that way.
You are. So do you have any house-related or other bacon for us? Or is it just all house?
It's all house. It's so, and the drag is, it's boring, right?
Not to me.
Well, not to you, and maybe not to my friend Terry. Although Terry, I'm sure, is die. I've been here for a week and I've been like, the house. I'm sure he's just like, shut up. So yeah. So if it's not related to the house, I haven't thought about it. And that includes the current political situation, the threat of the upcoming political situation. Nope. Not even on my radar. And
that's all right.
Heaven.
There's nothing you can do about it right now. So you might as well focus on something useful.
Yep. And so that is this house. And then when that's all done and the politics heats up, I'm going to focus on staying drunk 24/7 until like November 8th.
Also useful. Yes.
Yeah. What could go wrong?
Cool.
Okay. So that's all my stupid bacon is just house. What about you? What's going on?
Oh, I don't have a lot going on. I am going to New York this week. So next week I'll have, I think, some stories about that. Then did I say I was going to Copenhagen? September?
I don't think so, because it's a news flash to me. Again?
No, I didn't go to Copenhagen. I went to Stockholm, Sweden, and I went to Oslo, Norway.
And that's not Copenhagen?
No, that's not Copenhagen. I'm trying to hit all the Scandinavian countries. So Copenhagen is next on the list. And you're laughing, but I'm serious. So I'm going to go in September. My cousin may or may not be coming with me. I was waiting for her to confirm her dates of travel, and she just was dragging her feet about it. So I said, I'm going on these dates, and if you want to come, you're welcome to come. But I'm not going to wait around for her to go like I did in spring and then have her back out at the last minute or whatever. So I'm going by myself unless she decides that she wants to come, or my cousin Gwen decides that she wants to come, or you decide that you want to come. Everyone's invited.
Love to go.
If it wasn't for the house, you'd be able to go to Copenhagen. But I'm totally excited about that and about going to New York. But that's really all the bacon that I have. The weather here has been fine. It's been really sunny and pretty and like 70 degrees and really unusual for this time of year. So worried about climate change, of course, because it shouldn't be this pretty.
It should be beautiful.
It shouldn't be. Well, today it's foggy like it's supposed to be. So I feel a little bit better today. But that's that. That's all the bacon for me. So we can talk about our story if you'd like.
Yes, let's talk about the story because I don't have a lot for this story.
You just got muted. There you go. That's better. It's like you leaned into your mic or something.
Huh. Okay. Well, I guess my microphone is smarter than I am. And it was like, bitch, don't say it.
I don't know what you were going to say. I didn't hear it.
My microphone did. No, I didn't have a lot for the story. So I'm interested in seeing like where we go with it.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of things that I cobbled together, but on the surface, this feels like a one note story and it's a bad note.
Right. Right. So what is our story? Well, we'll tell you. In June, a Vermont state representative apologized after being caught on video pouring water into her colleague's tote bag multiple times over several months. She is, of course, a Republican. She's 67 years old. She should know better, old enough to know better. Her name is Morrissey, and she did confess to putting water in the bag of the Democratic legislator Jim Carroll, who's 62. Also old enough to know better. Both representatives represent the city of Bennington, Vermont, where I've never been. I'm not sure I've ever been to Vermont except driving through it. Have you ever been to Vermont?
I have never been any further north than Pennsylvania.
Oh, really? Okay.
So never Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine. None of those
go to Maine sometime.
Mythical Stephen King places.
Okay. Well, you've been to New York. That's farther north than Pennsylvania.
Is it?
Of course it is.
I don't look who you're talking to.
Not a lot, but it is. Anyway, what was I saying? So both Mary Morrissey and Jim Carroll represent the city of Bennington, Vermont, where neither of us have ever been, with Morrissey having served 13 terms in the Vermont legislature. So she's like a senior official or whatever. And Carroll has served 2. Carroll told The Guardian that Morrissey had been pouring cups of water into his bag since January. He says he first suspected Morrissey as she had been nasty to him for several months, despite the fact that the two have known each other since childhood and they go to the same church. He reported that Morrissey had verbally harassed him on several occasions, including chastising him for voting in favor of including the right to an abortion in the Vermont Constitution. She told him that his deceased Catholic parents would be ashamed of him. He said, "I was stunned, absolutely stunned, that she would drag my dead parents from the grave." A little more dramatic.
I mean, what she did was stupid enough, right? We don't need to overhype other dumb things that she's done.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. He said that Morrissey was just miserable toward me. Her favorite was she'd be in proximity to me, either near the elevator or in the lunch line or at one of the ice cream socials. And she'd say, "What is that smell?" And she'd recoil from me. She would say it in front of other legislators, and it was humiliating. I bet it was. I mean, that's so childish, though. It's like, what is she, 12? It's crazy. It's crazy for both of them. He couldn't be sure, however, he'd be so angry at it as to repeatedly dump water into his tote bag. So he set up a camera in the area where he regularly hung the bag. He captured 2 videos of Morrissey pouring a cup of liquid into the bag. Her face was not captured in the videos, but fellow lawmakers were able to identify her by her gray hair and the outfit she was wearing. So he said when he first saw the video of Morrissey pouring water into his bag, he felt sad. There was no good that was going to come out of this, he said. So he took the videos to House Speaker Jill Krowinski, who seems to have compelled Morrissey to apologize, and it was said that Morrissey is no longer eligible to be appointed to conference committees. It's not clear whether she's able to continue to serve on existing committees, because she's on the one that covers prisons, I think, which is scary. And Krowinski also encouraged Carroll to file an ethics complaint, which he has done. When Morrissey, sort of under duress, apologized to Carroll, she claimed that she didn't know the bag belonged to him, and she also claimed that she didn't know why she decided to repeatedly dump water in Carroll's bag.
Oh, so senility is what we're using as our defense
that's what
here.
We're working with. That's crazy. Carroll said at the end of the meeting, I looked at her and said, this has really fucked me up. There were weeks when I didn't know who was doing this or why. I walked around this place paranoid of my fellow legislators, racking my brain, trying to think, what could I possibly have said or done? When Morrissey apologized, Carol said, it looked like her face had just melted. She sat across from me, and it was like she was trying to make herself as tiny as she could. And she said, I just want you to know how sorry I am. I just said bullshit, Carol recalled. I said, the only reason you're sorry is you got caught. In his response to Morrissey's apology, Carol said, and this is the official response, to Representative Morrissey, I hear the sincerity in your voice, and I got to be quite frank with you and the body and our constituents and the people of Vermont. For 5 months, I went through this, and each day that I went through this, Representative Morrissey had a choice to make. And each time that she didn't choose to either drop it or to come to me and say, look, I'm sorry, we screwed up. Let's put our heads together and try to serve our constituents the way they ought to be. And for that, I'm really sorry and sad that happened. As to whether he forgives Morrissey, Carol said, I guess I would have to say yes in the spirit of forgiveness reluctantly. But if I had to be a smartass, I'd say her apology holds about as much water as my canvas bag.
Oh, that's kind of a cute,
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
It's so much there.
Yeah. So that's it. That's all I've got.
Wow. The most surprising thing to me is the level of immaturity given the age of the players.
And the fact that these are legislators who you would expect some level of maturity from, or at least I would, but I guess that's optimistic.
When Brent first proposed this story to us, right, and I saw the name Mary Morrissey, I was like, oh, I didn't know Morrissey was married. I wonder what his wife did. What's up, right? And so I was expecting something along those lines, like, did she accidentally eat a hamburger, right? And then I read this story in something like the New York Post, right? Which, of course, is a bit sensationalized. And they used the word prank to describe this woman's actions.
That's not a prank.
And it's just simply not a prank, right?
No.
It's quite childish. And the fact that they've known each other since childhood. Did that play into it for her?
Probably. It's got to have.
I got nothing.
I don't know. I mean, she wasn't doing it to all Democrats, so it wasn't that he was a Democrat. I mean, and he did go to rehab relatively recently, and maybe when he was drunk, he did something that offended her. I don't know, but it's all very weird.
Well, so it does seem like her actions were driven by policies, and not anything that was personal, because I think she would have coughed up well, I'm being bad and I know it, but, you stepped on my toe. But maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Certainly, it's just bad behavior from
terrible.
Someone I presume is a grandmother.
Yeah, probably. She's Catholic, so she's probably a grandmother.
It's probably a grandmother. Yeah. And did you confess this?
Yeah, doubtful.
It's very doubtful.
Should write her a letter asking her if she confessed.
And see, so when I read this article and I started thinking like, oh, what a horrible person. It's like, it's too easy to throw her under the bus, right? Because this is just stupid behavior. It's childish. It's juvenile. It's completely, and I could go on and on and on about how inappropriate it is.
Yeah.
And so what would you like to do? Would you like to rate the apology and then hear about some pranks and revenge at work stories? Or would you rather hear about pranks and revenge at work stories and then rate the apology?
Let's rate the apology. And then let's hear some fun stories. So the apology itself is, I'm truly ashamed for my actions, Morrissey said in remarks on the floor of the State House on Monday, the something of June. I've given my sincere apology to Jim directly and publicly, and will be working towards resolution and restoration through our legislative process, whatever that means. It was conduct most unbecoming of my position as a representative and as a human being, and is not reflective of my 28 years of service and civility that I do value towards my colleagues, she continued. I hope Jim, my legislative colleagues, all of our State House staff, and those who work in this building, and the citizens of Vermont can forgive me for my poor judgment and actions and allow me to take the necessary steps to repair what I have done, she said. So, bullshit. I mean, it's funny that they always say that this action that I did is not characteristic of me. And
I know.
It's completely characteristic of you. It's something you chose to do. It's absolutely a representation of your character.
You might even say it epitomizes you.
Absolutely. So it always makes me angry when they say that. This thing that's not like me. It's not the sort of thing that I do. It's like, yeah, it's exactly the sort of thing that you do. But anyway, so let's look at our criteria. Was there an expression of regret? Yes. Was there an explanation of what went wrong? No. She didn't know. She didn't know why she did what she did. So, okay. Was
also immature. I just have to throw
ridiculous.
That in there.
I mean, of course she knew. She wasn't just doing it.
That's what a 3-year-old says.
Yeah, I didn't know. Acknowledgement of responsibility. Well, she didn't say she didn't do it, so I guess so. A declaration of repentance. Yes. Offer of repair. No. I mean, she said, I will be working toward resolution and restoration through our legislative process, but that's like saying I'll do whatever the elders tell me I have to do. So not really. Request for forgiveness. Yeah. So my opinion of this apology is that she did this thing over and over and she didn't stop until she was caught. So Carol is right in that her apology is bullshit. And the only reason she's sorry is that she was caught. So I think the apology rate's a 3 out of 10. And I personally do not accept it. How do you feel?
So I do not accept this apology. Mm-hmm. And I also gave it a 3. And that's basically just because she said some things, right? And then if I wanted to factor in sincerity, it just isn't a sincere apology because she's sorry she got caught.
Absolutely.
And she's sorry that she's been publicly shamed. And she's sorry that she's the one who's actually the bad person in this, not him. Right. Mm-hmm. So on that level, it would be a big 0, maybe even going into negative territory, but we're going to give it a 3. We'll be the big people. We'll do the Michelle Obama move. We'll go high.
We'll go high. We're so generous. Okay, so 3 out of 10, and we do not accept the apology. Fair enough. And let's hear their fun prank stories now.
Fair enough. And she doesn't have my vote.
No.
All right. So again, as I mentioned, the story itself, it's just like, it's so incredible. What? She did what? Why? Who is she? She's how old? And very easy to throw her under the bus.
Yeah.
I have never done anything at work that was a prank or malicious, so I don't have any, and why not? Because that's not where you do this bullshit, everybody.
Right.
You
absolutely.
Just go to work.
You just don't. Yeah. Go to work, do your job, go home.
Be professional. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Go to work, allow your soul to be ground down into a little fine particle of dust, go home, sleep, go back the next day.
Yep.
All right. So I did a real brief skim through SHRM, Society of Human Resource Managers website. And here are the top 10 ways that people get revenge on their coworkers.
Ooh.
Right?
Promising.
And we're going to look at Mary's putting water into her colleague's tote bag as a form of revenge as opposed to a prank. Right. And then we'll talk about the difference, what you think the difference is between revenge and a prank. And then I'll tell you how you're wrong. Okay. So number 1, they sabotage a colleague's work. Hi. Okay.
I know.
But fine. That only hurts the company. They spread an unflattering rumor about a colleague.
Okay.
Okay. Sure. We've all been a little guilty of gossip, but okay, fine. Making it up and spreading it, that's even worse.
That's bad.
They quit their job in an unconventional way. I don't understand how that's revenge other than maybe you just quit suddenly and then the person you hate has all of your work to do too.
Yeah.
They hide a coworker's belongings.
That's close.
That's so childish. They scheme to get a coworker fired.
Wow.
That is so much drama, so much energy. Just do your job.
A lot of work, yeah.
They eat a coworker's lunch. Come on. That dumb. Okay, and then let's see here. Revenge is a natural emotion and something desired by everyone at some point in the workplace, said David Barron, an employment lawyer who represents management at Cozen O'Connor in Houston. Real life, however, is not The Office, which is a TV show. Annoyances, or was a TV show. I believe it's canceled now. Whatever, Theo, who cares? Petty annoyances and disrespect typically are ignored, and serious disputes are handled at the HR office and not through personal retribution. Barron said one of the most interesting cases of revenge he recalls was a time when a male manager was having a romantic relationship with a female subordinate. They were both married to other people.
Yeah.
Everything was fine until the male manager announced he was getting a divorce and leaving his wife for another woman. The female subordinate, who thought she would be the one, found out that he was going to marry somebody else. And she immediately made a complaint of sexual harassment, which resulted in the male executive being fired. Yeah, and you know what? That's just a real lack of judgment there. Don't
you
sleep
play
with your
fire,
subordinate.
You're going to get burned.
What? Let me put down these matches. Okay, so an evolutionary purpose. Psychology professor Michael McCullough explains that revenge actually serves as an evolutionary purpose. By exacting revenge, you make another person's gains less profitable, which helps prevent them from hurting you in the future. That's interesting. I would not have thought of it in those terms.
No, it is interesting.
And then long-term effects, basically, there was a study done, and what they discovered is that the people who get revenge typically feel worse than the people who had the revenge enacted upon them.
Really?
Right? Yeah. And so, well, I'll read this to you because you sound interested in it. It's short.
I'm interested.
A series of experiments led by a researcher at Colgate University, which I thought would be about teeth, and it wasn't, showed that while most people believe revenge would make them feel better, in reality, it did the opposite.
Wow.
In one experiment, participants were divided into punishers who could get revenge on someone who double-crossed them during a game, and non-punishers who weren't given this opportunity. Punishers and non-punishers rated feelings immediately after the game, as well as 10 minutes later. Punishers even felt worse than non-punishers despite getting the chance to take their revenge. 10 minutes after the game, punishers continued to brood on the double-crossers significantly more than the others did.
Wow. I would not have expected that.
I guess not, but then maybe, and I'm going to make this up, right? Because now I have a master's in psychology too.
Sure.
Maybe punishers recognize that, this situation happened and I did a thing to get back at you. But now that I've had my moment of glory, I realize I'm actually the smaller person.
Maybe.
And now you've made me feel bad about myself. And I don't know. That's why I didn't go into psychology.
That makes sense, though. I think that holds water.
Too much reading. Okay, so then pranks. Pranking at work can be risky business, says Rosemary Hafner, Vice President of Human Resources at CareerBuilder.com. When determining whether a prank is a good idea, and this article is specifically about April Fools, right?
Okay.
So fair enough. That's the day in the U.S. I think they do it. I don't know if they do it in Europe, but I'm sure they do it in the U.K. Okay, so April Fool's is the day that you can play little jokes on people, and everyone's supposed to laugh, right? When determining whether a prank is a good idea on April Fool's Day, employees should consider the worst-case scenario of their joke. Will his or her joke simply result in a laugh from fellow coworkers, or could anybody, including you, lose their job? Well, okay, let's not have pranks that go to that level.
That's a pretty big extreme there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, who are humans? Who needs this advice? I guess people do. Yeah. Well, faking a resignation, gluing office supplies to the desk, and covering someone's cube in aluminum foil are among the most common office pranks. Here are the
Faking a resignation? That's dangerous.
That's so dumb. I mean,
really, I'd be like, thank you, goodbye.
But okay. So here's 10 memorable pranks from a survey.
Okay.
All right. So Career Builder put out a little thing and was like, tell us your best office pranks for New Year's Day. No, for April Fools. But whatever. Pranks are pranks. Okay. Placed a pair of pants and shoes inside the only toilet stall in the men's room to make it appear someone was using the stall. I sat there for hours until someone called security to check if the person had died.
Oh, no.
All right. Sent a fake love note to a coworker from another coworker.
Oh, no.
Okay, that's actually kind of funny. Terrible. Don't do that. All the women in the office individually spoke to the president, finding that she is pregnant. Grammar. By noon, he knew that all his female workers were pregnant, and he could not tell anyone because each of them had asked for confidentiality.
Oh.
All right. I mean, funny. Called the electric company, used a coworker's name, and told them he was moving, so the electricity got turned off at the coworker's house.
Not funny.
Not funny. Filled the vending soda machine with cans of beer. Is that a prank? That's a party. Rigged the boss's chair to drop suddenly during a staff meeting.
Dangerous.
Dangerous, not funny. Placed a sign on the restroom door that read, "The company ran out of toilet tissue. Please use your own resources."
Dumb.
Paged a coworker over the loudspeaker, claiming the CEO was looking for him. The worker went to the CEO's office, and the CEO didn't know who he was or why he was there. Don't dare laugh. That's terrible. Shrink wrapped everything in a coworker's office. Annoying. Put a house for sale ad in the newspaper regarding a coworker's home.
That sounds illegal.
Sounds like a great way to get somebody not to like you.
Yeah.
And that's that. So has anybody ever done a prank to you at work?
Not that I remember. It's possible that they have, and I didn't remember or wasn't aware of it at the time. But how about you?
No, nobody's good enough to do a prank to me. I see it coming from a mile away. I did. Okay, so not prank, but when I worked at Disney, my boss was great. And she and I had a lot of fun together. And I, one time, got to work very early in the morning, and I wrote a little newspaper, the Office Cube, Office News, right, for our little wing. I ran off copies. And in it, I claimed that she had been kidnapped and that nobody was looking for her. I quoted all these people who were like, let's say, I don't want to say her real name, so let's just say her name was Susan. Susan who? There's a Susan that works here? I think I saw a girl named Susan once. She was lost. Yeah, and so
that's cute.
Very funny, very charming, right? And such a nerd. I got to the office early so that I didn't do this on company time, although I use company resources. Sorry, Disney.
Right.
Yeah, and so junk like that. Maybe there's 10 or 12 more things like that I could think of, but that's what comes immediately to mind. Yeah, and so harmless.
Because no one gets hurt. Yeah, exactly.
No, and I mean, I may as well have just written, I have a friendship crush on my boss. I want to be her best friend. You may as well have just made that the article. And we're still friends to this day.
Aw.
I haven't spoken to her in 10 years.
That's all right.
I guess that's everything. What a short show this week.
It has been a short show. That's a short show. And so I think we'll be back next week. I'm not sure now that I think about it because I'll be in New York, but we'll have to discuss that off the air. And I guess that's it.
Well, apology expected or who's sorry now?
I don't have either, but you do.
I do. And so, so I'm just like jamming this in here. Yikes. I do have an apology expected. And my apology expected is from U-Haul, the moving company. And where and how and why, I will tell you where and how and why, except my newsfeed updated. And so I can't tell you where it happened. Really annoying.
Sounds like a Twitter thing.
It's totally a Twitter thing. Thanks, Elon.
Thanks.
So there was a KKK rally.
Oh, no.
Somewhere, I want to say in Tennessee this past weekend.
That would make sense.
And 3 large U-Haul trucks pulled up to the march site where everybody was getting together to march, right? Mm-hmm. And these brave people are wearing their masks so that nobody can see their faces.
Right.
Right, yeah. And the 3 U-Haul trucks opened up the back doors, and like a swarm of Klansmen came out of them. They were using U-Hauls to transport people to the site because we're not brave enough to drive our own cars there.
Wow.
Or take public transport or Uber.
Jeez.
Yeah. And I'm sure that U-Haul is going to be issuing an apology saying, hey, we didn't know it was going to be the Klan, everyone.
We don't support that. Yeah.
Right. You can haul whatever garbage you want in our trucks.
Damn.
Thank you. That was very clever of me. So that's my apology expected this week.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
Well, I guess that's it for another week. We'll be back in a week or two. Stay cool, cucumbers.
And don't trip potato chips. I love that you gave me that line and I get to steal it. Thank you.
Yay. All right, everyone. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you for listening to Apologies Accepted, the podcast.
You can find links to the articles and the sources in the show notes.
To submit an apology or find out more, visit us at apologiesaccepted.net, where you can also find our merchandise.
We're on Twitter at Apologies Accepted.
And on Instagram at apologies.accepted.
You can support our important work at Patreon.com/Apologies Accepted.
And fuck Facebook.
Bye.
Bye.